start off with news about the coronavirus. New York City continues to deal with the coronavirus spread, and New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio announced that Bronxites can actually expect to get vaccines at Yankee Stadium. Our Bronx Net reporter, Sanji Lopez, brings us the story.
With over 300,000 New Yorkers having received COVID-19 vaccinations, Mayor Bill de Blasio recently announced that Bronxites can expect Yankee Stadium to serve as a mass vaccination site. This move is part of the mayor's push to set up 250 vaccination locations to meet the ambitious goal of inoculating 1 million New Yorkers by the end of January.
We are opening up 24/7 megasites. We talked yesterday about Citi Field, and again, thanks to the New York Mets for stepping up. That's fantastic. That's going to serve a lot of people. Well, we've heard back from the New York Yankees. We welcome them into the fold too. We're working with them now to work out a plan to use Yankee Stadium as well, and that's going to be great for the people of the Bronx.
The announcement comes after community leaders, including the 161st Street Bid, campaigned for Yankee Stadium to join sports teams like the Mets, who expect to offer mass vaccination at Citi Field in Queens later this month.
There is an organic relationship between the Yankees and the Bronx. They call themselves the Bronx Bombers, for goodness sakes. So there's got to be this sort of give and take and effort to support. And now with the vaccination venue being on the verge of opening, we're delighted because they have a staff there of folks from the security people to the attendants to the management that can make this happen very effectively and very peacefully and safely.
The Bronx has seen some of the highest numbers of COVID infections, with 906 newly reported COVID-19 cases and 7 newly reported COVID-19 deaths since January 10th. So far, there are over 40 vaccination sites in the borough, with more expected to come, according to Mayor de Blasio.
The Bronx, and especially the South Bronx, have been so ravaged, decimated by this disease, that a move like this, giving Bronxites and people especially who live within the South Bronx, the neighborhoods of Melrose, Morrisania, Highbridge, Concourse, an opportunity to get the vaccine as easily and quickly as it can be done. It's fabulous. It's wonderful.
The mayor's main concern? Keeping up with supply and demand.
We will run out of vaccine at some point next week unless we get a major new resupply, because so many New Yorkers want the vaccine and we have the ability to give it to them.
Plans to open the Yankee Stadium mass vaccination site here in the Bronx have yet to be revealed. In the meantime, 24-hour vaccination sites have opened in all 5 boroughs. You may check your eligibility status for the COVID-19 vaccine and make an appointment at a site near you by visiting nyc.gov/vaccine finder or calling 877-VAX4NYC. Reporting for BronxNet, Sanji Lopez.
And thank you, Sanji. We'll continue to bring you more information as the vaccination process becomes more available to Bronxites. In other news, we turn now to an ongoing survey from Rand Corporation that attempts to understand the views and values of those who are most at risk to the adverse effects of COVID-19 by surveying people with lower and middle incomes with a focus on communities of color. Our Bronx Net reporter, Darissa White, brings us these details right now.
Between COVID-19 and calls for racial justice, 2020 was a turning point for Americans. Researchers at Rand Corporation conducted a research study using respondents from different racial and socioeconomic makeups to see how values differed between race and the COVID-19 crisis.
We wanted to take this opportunity of the pandemic and everything else that has been occurring to see if people had actually increased in their awareness of things that we know factor into health, including issues of race and racism.
Almost half of the people surveyed believe that systemic racism played a part in poor health of communities of color. In the Bronx, majority Black and brown neighborhoods like Hunts Point were one of the areas that reported the highest rate of COVID-19 cases in 2020, which led to the conversation around systemic racism and the limited access to quality health care in low-income areas. Dr. Chandra says the reason for this study is to hopefully help people understand the disproportionate impact COVID-19 has on communities of color.
And so we wanted to understand those American health values and mindsets, particularly amongst those who are hardest hit by the pandemic. People get that rural communities have challenges. People get that low-income communities have challenges. people do not get that there are disproportionate and differential access to opportunities to be healthy by race.
Out of the findings in the study, it found nearly 2/3 of respondents believed that the government should ensure health care as a fundamental right, and that white respondents are less likely to endorse this statement. Black respondents reported lower trust in government than white and Hispanic respondents. And respondents who see an opportunity for positive change believe society should prioritize expanding access to health care and reducing income inequality. Dr. Chandra's hope is that the conversation around healthcare, race, and equity is widened on a national scale. Reporting for BronxNet, Darissa White.
And thank you, Darissa. And that's all the time we have for our Bronx update. We encourage you to stay connected to us. Open has got more show. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back right after this.